Warning: this podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Everybody, I'm Scrooge Brunson.
And I'm Scott Foster.
And this is Viewers Anonymous, the podcast. What's going on, bro?
Man, same shit, different day, man. Hey, before we get started, man, I just want to say I appreciate you jumping in on the guest spot on the Stolen Time podcast, the last episode, man. I appreciate that.
Man, it ain't no thing, man. Like I told you, bro, it's an honor to be on that show, man. I love, y'all dynamic, man. I love what y'all be talking about. Y'all be bringing up some great fucking topics, man. And y'all really put your heart and soul into that. That's some real work right there, man. So anytime I can be of service, I'm definitely willing to jump on and be a part of that discussion.
No problem, man. Appreciate that, man. I was glad to reach out to you and get that jump going, and that was like one of those type things, man. What, like, the main subject of that pod, you didn't speak on the main subject that we was on, but at the same time, that was just something I stumbled upon, and I was just like, damn. I was like, man, this is really a good subject to talk about, especially because every time we talked about point guards, he always brought up that guy, and it was just, you know what I'm saying, to tie all that in together. So, I mean, it was. I think it was a good pod. I haven't listened to it yet, but I think it turned out to be a good one.
I started from the beginning to where I left off watching you on Facebook Live, and y'all was getting into that one, man. But it's so dope because you know what I'm saying. He's from New York, so he can speak to how being a ball player in that area or in those areas and shit, and he can kind of give you that, that actual insight as to, this kind of shit that, he grew up in and was playing in when he was coming up and throughout high school and shit like that. So I think that's super dope too, especially when he used to tell like the New York stories. When I used to do the New York stories, I thought that was always dope too. So make sure y'all go listen to the Stolen Time podcast, man, and catch up on the episodes. And especially that one. That was a super dope episode.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. But I mean, you made it even more. Look, it was dope. You made it super dope.
Of course, man. That's what we do, man. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? When you do enough work together, man. You build that chemistry up. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You kind of know where, what I'm saying, the other person with the conversation and go and shit like that. So that's always good to have, man. So, go check out the Stolen Time podcast. You know what I'm saying? I dropped another episode of Already Home, so go check that out. Make sure y'all go check that out. And today, man, we talking about a super dope TV series. Something that was right up my alley. I am super interested in anything dealing with World War II, Nazi Germany, the Allies, the axis of evil, all that good stuff, man. That's probably one of my favorite time periods in history. But today, man, we talking about Hunters, the Amazon Prime original television series. So far, it's only one season.
Yeah, just one.
And so hopefully they can come back and bring us something else, because I'm sure that they can get out the Nazis out of that area. But it's before I go into the description, I just want to say that the concept of this show was brilliant. It was something that I think a lot of people were kind of nervous to touch because, especially dealing with Hollywood, especially dealing with, the movie or television industry, you don't really do a lot of things dealing with Jewish people or the Jewish culture, especially something of this magnitude. And I thought that the way that they represented the Jewish people and represented the Jewish culture in this, I thought it was fire, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, man. I really love the concept of it, and then also to realize that a lot of this stuff really happened. And I like how they did like those small little interludes where that shit was fire, boy. It was like when they did the interlude on when they was saying that they took the German scientists, like they had like a meeting and they was talking about we're gonna take these Nazi scientist people and we're gonna bring them over here to America. And then it was like, this shit really happened. I was like, oh, that shit is so fucking hard. So I love how they had put those interludes in there, man. So whoever, well, I know Jordan Peele was one of the executive producers on it, and dude, I'm sorry, dude, to me he hasn't missed yet. I know a lot of people didn't love Us. I mean, I thought it was good. But a lot of people didn't love it. The only thing I haven't seen that he's done is I haven't seen any of those the Twilight Zone. I haven't seen any of that yet. But everything else I've seen him do, he has done a really great job, man.
Yeah, I gotta check out the Twilight Zone myself. That's one of the things I'm into as well. But so for those who haven't seen this TV series, man, once again, it's an Amazon Prime original television show, and it centers around I want to say it's what, the 1970s, 1960s, 70s.
70s.
It's around. It's the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's based in the 1970s, and it's talking about when the American government brought in the Nazi scientists after World War II, and how they brought them into different various factions and industries of America to basically help get America to where it is now. So a lot of people, they probably don't know the history behind this, but yes, it is a true thing. Nazi scientists have definitely been recruited to come into America and help basically get us to all of our advances that we've had since the war was over with. The main program was NASA. I forgot the guy's name, the head of NASA. He was actually a part of the Nazi regime, or the Third Reich, if they say. But he was actually a part of it, and he was the one who helped fund it. He was the one who helped put a lot of the science behind it as well. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are actual true stories that they're basing this show out for, and there's actually real history behind some of the stuff they're even saying in the show. And you know what I'm saying? I thought that it was super cool for them to be able to even put that in there. So, you know what I mean? Where you want to start, man? You want to start on the first episode?
Yeah, man, because I was just refreshing my memory, and I was just thinking about how they started the first episode, and it was just, it was, they was having a cookout, and, everything just seemed normal, and I was like, okay, it's cool. And then this girl pops up, happened to be a Jewish girl, and then she just kept looking at the dude and like, man, that's the butcher. And then so she started, you know what I'm saying, ranting in English and in whatever other language she was doing, and my man just took.
It was English and Hebrew.
Yeah, and like, man, he just took everybody out and left her for last. So he had married a woman, had 3 kids, and this dude kills everybody there and was like, you blew my cover. He was like, it took me, 20 years and I had to have these. Dude, basically, like, he was just talking shit about his kids, talking about how he wanted to kill his kids and all this type of shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? And like, and it gave you that sense of like, that hatred, dude, like that damn hatred that they have. And it's just like, to come over here and to go undercover, and like the way that America tried to make it seem like for the people who would question what they done, it's like, well, if we wouldn't have got them, the Soviet Union would have got them. So, like, I mean, look, I get it, but like the only thing that really sucks about it is the fact that you bring them over here, you protect them, you put them in high-ranking positions after we just fought them. But we got Jim Crow down here in the South. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like we got redlining and all of that type shit, as black people. But we went over there to stop the Nazi Germany, but then we take the smart people and we, you know what I'm saying, put them in great positions and stuff like that. So I get it, but I don't get it. But at the same time, but the way that it started, it was like, oh shit, like we in for some shit. So I thought that was a perfect way to start the show, because the thing about people is a lot of people have short attention spans. So to the first 4 or 5 minutes of the show, like
it's already throwing you for a loop.
Yeah, it's already putting you, you know what I'm saying, knee deep in. And it's like, fuck, like wow, like this shit just started like just like that. And then the damn intro come in. So it's like so I mean I think that the way that they started it, like, cause like for me, like it started great, and then like it to just for me, my personal opinion, then it kind of slowed down a little bit, and then it picked back up in like episode 3. But I knew right then going in, it's like, wow, like this ain't like any other thing that I've been watching. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, after that, we see the main character, what's his name? Jonah. We see Jonah, grandma get shot, and it's like, damn, man, who gonna shoot this old ass lady? Yep. So I'm like, wow. And then he was saying that she was telling him, like she recognized the dude, and like she kind of like knew it was coming. So then you start to figure out that, man, this is more than a rob, because the dude didn't even try to take anything. So and it made it look like a robbery, but Jonah was trying to tell the cop, like, dude, like she was saying this, she was saying that, and then like the cop was, which is crazy because that dude, I've seen that guy in one other show, and he was a cop in that show too. I don't know what that black guy name is, but every time I see him, he's a fucking detective, which is crazy. But like he was in the show Affair. I don't know if you ever seen that shit. It was on Showtime, and he was a damn.
I've seen him in something else. I can't put my finger on it, but I've seen him in something else. That's where I know him from. When I first seen him, I was like, oh yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, I just feel like he's just always a detective. But so then we start to, because it's that whole little scene where Jonah was selling drugs to help his grandma out and all that type of shit. And she was saying, you got a special gift and you need to be using it. And see, right then and there, because see, I didn't think about it until later on, throughout the season. It was like, this dude, there's something special about his brain. There's not a lot of people that's like that. They can't look at a lot of shit and map that shit out the way that he maps shit out, which we'll get to that towards the end of the pie, because like the end was fucking crazy. But
the end was wild.
Yeah, the end was wild. I really wasn't ready for that. But so we see the grandmother die, and then Al Pacino pops up, and he starts telling him, "Oh, I know your grandmother. We go way back, all this type of shit." So he's kind of trying to put shit together, and then we go to the detective lady. I wish I could remember everybody's name. I can't remember everybody's name, but the black detective lady, and she goes to investigate that old lady, which was, I'm guessing she was a Nazi, right? The old lady that they killed in the shower.
She was a part of the Nazi regime that they actually had on the list. She was a part of that too. So everybody that dies in the show are the targets of Al Pacino.
Yes, that's what we figured out at the end.
Or Al Pacino's character. But what I thought was super dope was, like you said, how it started off, with instant action. How instantly, they at the barbecue, she started seeing dude's face, she remembered him, You know what I'm saying? And then she started having them flashbacks to who he was, and then you see him instantly turn into German. You know what I mean? Like because he got a great Southern accent, but then you see him go German instantly, and what it kind of showed was just how far that this. I think it kind of gave like the bar of how far that this show is going to go. The fact that, you know what I'm saying, you had that type of action that early on before the show is before you even know what the hell is going on in the show, you see this and it's like, damn, like now, okay, something about to happen. It's about to be pretty good. And then it goes into the main character, Jonah. We see him talking to one of his friends who I guess was dating like neighborhood bully or some shit like that. And that's when he was selling the dude drugs or whatever. And then he got two other friends. I think one dude's name was like Booty Cheeks or something like that. I forgot what the other dude's name was. But it was Booty Cheeks or something. And so those were his two friends. And then, like you said, you know what I'm saying, we see his grandma get murdered. But the interesting part about that was the scene of his grandma getting murdered. Like you said, she realized who the dude was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we start to see Jonah's, and I guess it wasn't really revealed, but in a sense it was like, once we get to the part where we know who he is now, then you kind of went back and was like, oh, now it's all starting to make sense. Because he was able to remember like every fucking thing about what dude had on, the way he looked, all that shit. So, you know what I'm saying, he damn near had a photographic memory. And, you know what I'm saying, with his grandma dying, you know what I'm saying, he was like 19 or some shit like that. He still got a lot of shit to go through. And then him meeting Al Pacino, you know what I'm saying, and getting to know all these other people that's eventually coming up. You know what I'm saying? I thought that going into the stories of these characters was a brilliant idea too, because it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to kind of give you a good backstory or give you enough information to kind of know what the backstory of each of those characters were. And so with him, you know what I'm saying, that was the beginning. You know what I'm saying? We got to know Jonah's backstory. He was a young Jewish boy, you know what I'm saying? His grandma basically raised him. And, you know what I'm saying, she gets murdered. Now in comes Al Pacino. And then I think in the second episode is where, you know what I'm saying, Al Pacino kind of takes him up under his wing. And then it got a little bit more into the black detective lady. She was still working on the case of the lady that ended up dying. We don't even know she's a Nazi yet. All we know is that the lady basically gets murdered somehow, and then that's when the detective gets up on the scene. So the detective is basically doing her investigation in the second episode. She's trying to find out what's going on. She gets to talking to people, and then another murder happened. And this is when I believe when Jonah ended up meeting Al Pacino and getting to know the rest of the crew.
The rest of the team, and they was not accepting.
Oh, not at all. They didn't like that. They didn't like that addition at all. But that's when he basically was like trying to prove himself on whether or not he was going to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be in this new group. And so we got another murder of a Nazi that we still don't know that they're Nazis yet, but you know what I'm saying, we got another Nazi murder. And then once again, the detective lady comes on the scene and her investigation starts to go deeper now because Cassie's starting to make some connections and she's starting to be able to, you know what I'm saying, link some shit in. And now I think she got like Jonah's jacket or some shit like that.
Yeah, Jackie got left behind.
But what's also interesting is throughout all of this, there's another character. And it's a young white guy who is directly working for the Nazis, but he's not German, he's American. And he's like the hitman or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And And I believe with his first, I think his first involvement was he went to go kill somebody, right?
Well, no, his first involvement was when the very first episode when my man killed his whole family, they sent him there to basically clean up
Right.
the
You
mess
talking to
because
the
remember he
dude.
shot him in the arm
Right.
to make it seem like it was like somebody came and robbed them. Well, not robbed them, but I don't remember what they end up.
Basically, he was supposed to be getting attacked, and he was supposed to be the one who survived.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also when they was at the bowling alley, when he went to set one dude straight, like he came in there and like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when we realized that he wasn't nothing to fuck with right there, cause like we don't know who he
Yeah.
was when he went, to the dude's house, but when he was in that bowling alley
Right.
and he grabbed that bowling ball and he fucked up those four dudes.
Hey, that motherfucker was cold, man.
Oh, real cold.
He was a cold.
Yeah, he was
He
cold,
was on some different shit.
Oh yeah, and like heartless, dude, and like then right then and there, we're like, you're still trying to figure out like who is this dude? Like he has to be working for somebody because he got a phone call, and because he was in the tub and he got a phone call and they told him to go to dude's house. So you see, well, he works for somebody, but who do he work for? So it's like you're trying to, it's that build up and like I like build ups, but sometimes it's like you need that story, but then it's like sometimes it get dragged out, and that's why I felt like, and it kind of started picking up towards episode 3, and also when you speaking on Jonah, like the team wasn't very accepting of him, but as soon as he got in there, the very first thing he did was he found the clue that they couldn't find.
Yeah,
right off the rip, he had found the next person's name, and even then, like he started opening their eyes. Everyone except the nun lady.
Yeah.
Cause she gave him a hard time throughout the whole fucking season.
Well, she was basically like the right hand man. Like what I noticed about her, and this is the tricky thing about her too. For the whole series, I did not know whose side she was on.
I don't either. Still,
to me, her character was the best character because you have no idea whether she is literally out here doing what she's supposed to be doing with the group or whether she is like a double agent.
I think she's a double agent, but I don't know who's the other person on the other line because she had some phone calls throughout the show, and we don't know who she's talking to. So
I think I do. I think I know though. But go ahead. I think I know.
And like we seen her meeting with that one lady that works in that lab, and I don't know who that lady's for either. So it's like
but remember that's one of the girls that she grew up with.
And when they went back into her backstory, they was showing how she got dropped off at the train station. And like, so her parents sent her to like this nun school, and they were saying that she would be better off going there. So that's what got me confused of like, because they changed their names and all of that type stuff. And it's like, okay, is she like really German and they gave her a Jewish name? Or is she Jewish or they gave her a German name? It's like, I was sitting
there. That's what it is. No, she's really Jewish. So when you go back and you see her story, remember her parents were dropping her off to the train because I think that they knew what was going on. I think that they had got ahead of it and sent her off to the nun school. They gave her that little silo thing. I forgot what it is, like a scroll or something to remember them by. But it's one of those on one of those sides of it, it had like one of the Jewish symbols or something like that on there. But if you remember, her name was Rebecca. That's a Jewish name.
Okay.
So that's how I knew. Soon as she was saying her name, that's how I knew. Now once she got there and she started getting acclimated into the whole nun school, that's when, remember, they made her change her name.
Mm-hmm.
So she basically had to change her whole identity. That way she would be, found and caught up. But the dope shit about her is that she was ex KGB, or not KGB. I think it was what's the English one? MI6. She was ex MI6, and you know what I'm saying. Like she had some fucking skills. Like she was getting down to dirt.
Yes.
And so in the group we got the nun. We have the actor. I forgot what his name was.
I forgot what it was.
What was his name? But that's Ted from How I Met Your Mother. So that's who he plays. I mean, that's the character that plays the actor. So we got the nun, we got the actor, we got the couple, and then we got the ex-army vet. We got Al Pacino, who's the head of the group, and then we got the new addition, which is Jonah.
Well, and the black girl.
And then we got Roxy.
Roxy
was like, she was like the Black Revolutionary. So it basically, you know what I'm saying, throughout the season, it just goes into everybody's backstory, and it kind of tells you a little bit about who everybody is, and it don't necessarily say how they got to be in the group that they was in, but it just kind of tells you a little bit about each one of them, and you know what I'm saying, they passed. So,
well, I will say this though. I think the couple is really the only ones that you see why they in it. You know what I'm saying? You see why they fit, because they actually went through some shit, and then also
they was actual survivors.
They were survivors, and they lost a son. You know what I'm saying? That scene that they had showed there, so they kind of showed why the couple was in the group, but the rest of them, you know what I'm saying? It's still kind of a mystery, and it'll come out in season 2. But it just me, it just felt like they were the only ones who really showed. Okay, we understand why they in the group.
The actor was Jewish too.
Oh, the actor was Jewish. Okay.
So Al Pacino's character, Jonah, the actor, and then the couple, they were all Jewish. The only people, and the nun, of course, but the only other two that weren't was the army vet and Roxy.
Yeah.
Them was the only two that was outside everything. But I believe that episode 3 is when the second murder happened, and then the detective lady comes in, and then that's when she really started trying to connect dots and see what was really going on. And then in episode 4 is where she actually started going and doing some, some investigating for real.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that all of this is kind of linked to Nazi Germany.
Yep.
So she goes to what was it? She went to the brother of the first murder, the first lady that got murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked to his wife, I believe. And when they were sitting down, the wife had said that he had ended up getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got killed, she went into one of the rooms, and she found out that he used to be a Nazi as well, but he was like experimenting on the kids, because remember he had that little tin can of all their teeth. He was like a dentist or some shit like that. And he worked at the hospital.
Yep.
When he had got to America, and so she seen that, but she grabbed the pictures and everything, and then she went to like one of the people in the area or whatever she went, because she worked for the FBI.
Yeah.
And then she went to one of the local detectives, and then she was telling him to do some research on these pictures and see if you can make a connection to these people, because that's where the murder was happening at the time. And so when that happened, we see the assassin dude come in, and he kills our detective and the family. And then once she finds something out, because I think she ended up linking Jonah to somebody because he left a jacket or something behind in the second murder.
Yeah, and she was trying to figure out, like, okay, like, are you trying to? Well, I'm not trying to skip episodes, but I was trying to remember when she started zeroing in on him to try to link him to the murders, then try to tie it into his grandmother.
I think it was the jacket thing when she found out about the jacket. Because remember, she was saying that I think it had ended up coming back to Al Pacino's character, and he just so happened to be there.
And is that the same time?
Remembered that jacket.
But at the same time, what I was trying to figure out is why, because my man, the fucking assassin dude, he put on a cop uniform. He found Jonah's jacket and took his name out of it.
Right.
So she just assumed that it was Jonah's, but she would have known it was his if my man didn't take that out, which I don't know why. I don't know if it was a whole thing to save Jonah, so they didn't want Jonah to get in trouble yet.
No, that's who he found out who Jonah was. Remember, because he was going after Jonah too.
That's right. You're right. He took that name out and he figured out that was his grandmother. So he was like, "Oh, he's like, okay, this is the old lady that I shot, and this is her grandson." So he ties into all of this shit. But then also she started, and that also started her to investigate Al Pacino's character because he was the one trying to protect Jonah. So that got him on her radar.
Because remember, she was talking to the guy who interrogated Jonah, the black detective that he was talking to with his grandma's murder, and she was saying, how can somebody who's 19 with a minimum wage job still be surviving without, you know what I'm saying, his grandmother doing most of the, you know what I'm saying, having most of the bills taken care of like she usually would. And that's when they had brought up Al Pacino's character that was saying that he basically bailed him out. He was, you know what I'm saying, helping them with the bills and stuff like that. So that's when Al Pacino's character come into the investigation. And then I'm trying to think what else happened in episode 6. She connected the dots. She found out about the Nazis. Dude killed the detective and his family. And then, is that the same episode where they went to the studio?
I think so, and I think that's around the time where Jonah started to get Well, we'll get there when we get there, but that's when he started getting this idea of, is this my grandfather?
No, that was later.
That was a little later?
Way later. Yeah, that was way later.
Because that was probably around by episode 6, about 7 or 8. But yeah. You're right. That was a little later. I think that was around the time when they was in the studio though.
So they get into the studio because that's their next target. They find the dude, and when they interrogating the dude or whatever, they find one of these hidden rooms. The hidden room is sending off this broadcast that is really sending off the signal. And so something happened between the dude and the old Nazi dude and Jonah.
Jonah kind of, you know, he was still red under the cheeks, like, you know what I'm saying. He wasn't with all of the torture, and so they started to torture him, and Jonah started to feel bad, and Jonah slipped up by kind of like, you know, letting his guard down, and then the dude attacked him, and then they had to come in to kill him. They didn't want to kill him yet because they wanted to figure out, like,
they needed the information.
Yeah, so they didn't get the information. So then that made the nun lady even more pissed off at dude, and kept telling Al Pacino, like, look, he ain't ready for this, because he was still kind of, you know what I'm saying, not really into the whole torture thing. So that's how, that had ended up happening.
Yeah, so they found out that, you know what I'm saying, they sent in the broadcast, and then I think it goes into episode 5. So, episode 5, it started off with the detective lady, and we found out that she a lesbian.
Yep. And her mother's sick.
Yep, and her mom was sick, and she was hiding the fact that she was a lesbian from her parents and everything like that. And then we go back to Jonah, the group, and then that's where I think that's when one killed, because he was supposed to be at the store or something like that, and he was there with his best friend, the female best friend, and he was like, "Well, I gotta go because I gotta get to work. I gotta shift at work." And as he was walking there, the assassin was looking for Jonah, and he had found out. I forgot how he found out, but he was at his best friend's house, and dude broke back into Jonah's house. And he found out his schedule or something like that, and he went to Jonah's job and started asking for Jonah. His friend didn't give him up, and then his friend tried to run. Dude shot him, and then once he shot him, as he was leaving out, Jonah seen him, but he didn't. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do anything about it. Or whatever. He found out his friend was dead, and then it goes into Jonah basically taking the whole thing serious. And then in the midst of that, the couple was trying to decode the message or whatever that was going on with the broadcast. And at first, I think the husband had seen it or had heard it, and he thought it was Morse code or something like that, and they thought it was dates.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being dates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up being dates, and it ended up being like a date that was like coming up that week. I think it was like they said this is the date of Friday, so then they had to figure out like something is going to happen, and we got to figure out what the hell is going to happen on this date.
Mm-hmm.
So what ended up happening after that? So once they figured out the Morse code thing, let me see. I'm trying not to skip the timeline.
They was going to find the next target.
Was the next target the lady, or was there another target before her?
Lady, which lady are you talking about?
The lady that they shoved shit in her mouth.
Yeah, it was her. That's when Roxy went to her.
Yeah, and see, Roxy was going through her own personal shit at the time too.
Yep.
Where she was saying that
she was go ahead.
Well, she was saying that how she be like hugging up her daughter at night, and she don't know if her daughter needs it or if she needs it more, and she was going through some shit with the baby dad and all of this type shit, and she also was going through some personal shit of being black. So she was feeling a way at the time. It seemed like she was kind of wavering if she wanted to do this shit or not, because she stopped doing it for a while. Not a while. Maybe like an episode or two she had stopped, and then she came back in. But you know that shit was wild. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. If you're gonna torture me, there's a few things I might take a little bit of pain. But I'm telling you right now, man. If you pull a plate in front of me and you say this is your shit, and if you don't tell me the information I want to know, dude, but I might spill the beans. But I'm telling you. I'm like, man.
I'm definitely spilling the bit. I'm not eating shit at all.
Man, I wouldn't eat my own shit, and I'm gonna eat somebody else's. Nah, bro. Dude, that lady was tough, boy. Cause then this is what kills me. It's like you sat there and you took like 4 spoonfuls of shit, and then you end up telling them the shit anyway. So I'm like,
man, listen, that was crazy. And the wildest part about that was I don't know if the actor was I don't know why I thought like, okay, so it's a part or at the end of the scene where they finally get everything out of him, right?
mm-hmm.
And Al Pacino kill him. The actor goes off to a room and he get to search in the room. when he searched the room, he found the red book.
Mm-hmm.
But in the midst of finding the red book, he was looking at like all the pictures and shit that was up on the wall.
Yeah.
And when he was looking at all the pictures and shit on the wall, he ran into the glass of champagne. So was he like a former addict or some shit like that?
I don't know, but at the same time, I think that when you think about the end and you think about the timeline that we're talking about right now,
yeah,
does it seem like she knew who he was and that's why he shot her? Because remember, they said we never kill people until we know for sure that they are the people that we're looking for. Because Roxy was like, look,
I think so.
Roxy was like, you breaking your own rule by saying, you know, we don't kill the people unless they confess who they were. And she started, you know what I'm saying some shit, and Al Pacino started getting pissed off, like, not pissed off, but he was kind of like, shit, she's going to blow my cover. It felt like she was about to blow his cover, so he shot her. I didn't think about that shit at the time. But like now, like thinking back when you know what ended up happening at the end. Because it was some reason why he shot her before.
Because remember when he got that red book, they didn't look into that book yet.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of shit in that book that they didn't find out about some shit yet. So in the midst of all this happening, they sent the other group members out to what was it, to the south? I think it was like Tennessee or some shit like that, to go see the other guy, because it was two people that was going after in that episode.
Oh, now it get crazy now.
So in that one, they find the guy, they take him to a barn and they interrogate him. And they talk about how he used to basically fill all these people's stomach up with salt water, and they would basically have their stomach deteriorate and they would die from the inside. And so after they got the information from him about who I was there, they then they go into the doing the same thing to him. They put a mask over his face, and when they put the mask over his face, they start pouring water into the funnel in the mask.
Yeah.
And he start they start killing him. So they finally kill him. And when she heard, I think it was like 4 or 5 names, she heard the names, and the nun goes out. Jonah tried to stop her. She tells Jonah to get out of her way. And then she goes out into the crowd and start asking for all these people. So one dude, she found one of them, and she instantly killed him. And then the next dude that she found, she kidnapped him, take him to the car, and then she drive off, leaving behind the army dude and Jonah.
And I see that, and that's when I started to get really confused, because I was like, why would she take dude and leave Jonah behind? And then that's when I started thinking. And then what was confusing to me was everything was cool, and then they got a flat. And then I'm gonna tell people right now, I don't give a damn how old a man is. Don't ever date a man that'll sit there and watch another woman change a tire. Cancel that dude. Cancel him. Cancel him. And don't never let your daughter date nobody like that. But so she's changing the tire, and then dude attacks her, and then she puts him in the trunk. And I'm like, okay, like I'm like lost at this point. I'm trying to figure out like who.
No. Don't forget. In the midst of the car ride, before the tire even goes flat, in the midst of the car ride, she starts speaking German to dude and start telling him that they was after him and that she was basically his safety.
Yeah.
Now that's where I got confused.
Yeah, and then after she put him in the trunk, she goes to the couple's house, and then she was like, what, did she say wedding gift? I think, yeah, the wedding gift, because their daughter got married. Yeah, and it was like, I got a gift for y'all downstairs. So then they go downstairs and they get to looking at the dude, and then they had their flashback, which we are skipping all the flashbacks. But then they showed the flashback of them getting off of this train, and they said women and children and children to the left and men to the right, and they didn't want to split up.
All the Holocaust victims.
Yeah, and then they didn't want to split up, and that German guy was like, all right, I'll split y'all up. So he shot that kid. And that person that she kidnapped, it was the dude that shot that kid. So the reason I still didn't understand why she had to leave the Army and Jonah dude behind. Yeah. I think that they would have understood why they would leave them for the couple. But then I was like, okay, now I get it. Like, she is with the team, but I'm still trying to figure out who is she talking to in these phone calls. And then also in the mix of all of that, like Jonah and Al Pacino's character is getting really close. And so he's telling Jonah all of these stories about, the things that happen, over there and all this type of stuff. And then they show his grandmother back when she was young. The dude in the lab coat offered her a job because the dude seen that she was in love with this dude. And
the wolf.
Yeah, the wolf. And Al Pacino was, quote unquote, the wolf. So so the dude offered her a job, and she turns to look. She is the real definition of a ride or die. That lady could now maybe the job, maybe the dude was lying, maybe he wasn't. There's a high chance that he wasn't lying, because I think that he really liked her. I think that he thought that she was good looking and he really wanted to be with her, but he couldn't really, fornicate with a Jewish woman in front of, all of the Nazi people and whatnot. So he offered her a job.
Well, I think that it wasn't that. Don't forget that it was the fact that she was. I think that what he seen them two fall in love, and he didn't want that to actually happen inside that camp. So he felt like he could use whatever little power he had to kind of get her away from him and separate that before it even happened. What he failed to realize was, in those kind of situations, sometimes motherfuckers get bigger than what you think they are.
Yeah. And so he tried to separate them. She turned the job down. So then he started fucking treating the dude like shit.
No, he did way more than that.
Well, yeah, he tortured that guy. He tortured dude.
For 9 hours.
And for 9 hours. And then he was saying that the best way to, I guess, show his heart to that dude was not to scream. Like, he screamed the first time, and then after that, he stopped screaming, and he ended up wearing the dude out. And he saw that as a win. He was like, for me not screaming and showing that I'm in pain, I can wear this dude out to the point where, I can take some sort of a victory out of this.
Yeah.
And so then he starts looking at Al Pacino like, shit, like, are you my grandfather? You know what I'm saying? And so then I started thinking the same shit. But I was like, well, where the hell was you at all this time? And then I started kind of putting in my own head, put my own thesis together and say, he had to leave her, you know what I'm saying, for them to have a normal life, I would assume.
Right.
So like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, okay, he left his daughter and I don't know if they would have ever got married or anything, but let's just say his daughter and his girl, he had to leave them behind and just watch Jonah from afar and all this type of stuff. So I'm trying to tie all this stuff in my head. That's why the end was so even more shocking to me, because I started to believe that he was that guy and that he was actually Jonah's grandfather. And I think that was the whole setup of the show, is to get you to think that they was doing that. And to jump back to the couple, so the couple got the man that shot their son, and they couldn't pull the trigger. And they ended up just basically keeping him as a prisoner until they could figure out exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then, if I'm not skipping stuff, then your dude, the assassin dude, they ended up Jonah and the what? Oh man, what was? Why did they go to the station? Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. The man figured out the date, and the date was they was gonna blow up the train station. Mm-hmm. That's what that date was. So they ended up going to the train station, and then they seen the dude, the assassin dude. So it was the army guy, Jonah, and that woman's husband. The army guy ended up staying because the assassin went on the subway. So Jonah and the old guy got on the subway, and then he snuck off last minute, and then the army guy stayed off, and he followed the dude, and then ended up finding out that it was a bomb, and he told Jonah to clear out that train subway thing. And so Jonah got everybody off, and he tried to defuse the bomb. He couldn't defuse it, and then he ended up getting blown up. And that right there gave his wife that motivation to actually kill the dude at this point, because they lost a member of the team and all of this type stuff. And what ended up being so what ended up so have we gotten to the point where they started revealing the corn syrup thing? So we haven't got there yet. So what ended up happening? What ended up happening after the funeral?
Okay, so they went to. I'm trying to think. What you talking about the husband's funeral?
Yeah, the husband funeral. Because
so before that even happened, they went to they found out about the Swiss bank.
Okay.
And that's where they was holding, or they found out about the room in the Swiss bank. And remember, they had to set up a plan to see what was going on in the bank. Because remember, they found the two Nazi dudes in the diner across the street from the bank, and then they followed them going to the bank. So they were scoping out the bank. And then once what they found out about the bank was that the head of the bank at the time, I forgot what his name is too, but he's actually a real person too. But the head of the bank at the time was helping the Nazis take all the Jewish art and possessions and gold and all that stuff and storing it in the Swiss bank.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they break into the bank. And then before that, Al Pacino meets with the head of the bank, and he tell him he know who he is, he know what's going on, he know what he's doing. And then they break into the bank, they find everything, and in the midst of that, he showed him all the pictures that they took of everything that was inside the bank. Because remember, that little secret room was a vault. It was a vault in there.
It was a vault, yeah.
That had all of the possessions and treasures and stuff. And so the head of the Swiss bank, he killed himself. Mm-hmm. And then after he killed himself, I'm trying to think who else what else happened. Them breaking the code, finding out it's a bomb, and then before that, Al Pacino and them Al Pacino got arrested, and he was getting interrogated by the FBI agent.
Yeah, and he was trying to tell her like something's about to go down. If you don't let me out of here, the blood's gonna be on your hands. Yeah.
Right. And so when that happened, then we found out about the corn syrup thing. So the corn syrup was it was being treated with some kind of poison or something that they came up with, because one of the Nazis that they went to go find was one of the scientists or doctors that was testing and creating the gas and all that to kill off the Nazis. Mm-hmm. He created a poison to basically use in corn syrup, which they was introducing corn syrup instead of sugar. And everything was a front that they was using as a front for this company that they had that was using the corn sugar to basically put in soda and candy and all this other stuff that was basically just going to wipe out all the people that they didn't want in the world. So
okay, so hold on. Out. So let's pause right here. So think about the American government, right? So they like, we're going to bring the smartest people over here and get them to work for us and come on our side. Like, they're not going to have any resentment that they went over to their country, you know what I'm saying, ended all of the shit that they had going on and thought that there was going to be no retaliation against us.
Well, you got to remember at the time that we talking about, when they was bringing these motherfuckers over, you got to remember that they was having the war crime trials. So a lot of the motherfuckers was getting found out who they was and shit, and they was being brought to I forgot where it was at, but they was being brought in front of a committee of Jewish like judges and stuff like that, and they were being brought up on their war crimes. And then, speaking of that, it's a documentary on Netflix too that talks about that. It's a guy that he was mistaken for an SS guard or some shit like that. I forgot what it's called, but I think it's like the Monster Next Door or the Monster in the Neighborhood or some shit like that. But basically, they was getting everybody that was bringing them into war crimes. And then on top of that, you got to remember that the U.S. and at the time it was the USSR was in a race to be the first people to go to the moon. Mm-hmm. And those were basically like the two major powerhouses in the world at the time. So for some odd reason, I guess we figured it was a big deal to get to the moon or whatever. And so them bringing over the Nazi Germany scientists was basically them helping get ahead of what Russia was doing. So that's how we getting like Volkswagens. That's how we getting like cell phones. That's how we get like a whole bunch of, well, not cell phones in general, but the production of cell phones that we have. Because, the production of cell phones that we have and stuff like that. We getting all this like new technology and shit from Germany. Because like, if you know anything about World War II, one of the biggest issues that we had against Germany was they tanks and they Humvees, because they had like some of the best auto mechanics in the world. So it was a big issue trying to stop the German tanks. Somehow they figured out some shit about it or whatever and ended up dealing with it. But that was one of the major issues we had against Germany. And so they brought basically all of that knowledge that they had basically over here to America and used that to kind of give us an advance against the USSR and basically the rest of the world. And so when you think about like all that shit and then you think about like all the stuff that was going on, because you got to remember, like when they brought these dudes over, they made like a deal with these motherfuckers that if they was to come over and basically be if they were to come over and basically help us advance and be normal citizens and not cause no trouble, if they was going to wipe their whole slate clean. They gave them new identities. They gave them totally different backgrounds. They actually had some of these motherfuckers like new birth certificates, all this shit. And so that's why a lot of them was able to, basically
hide in
integrate
plain
into
sight.
our society. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really know shit about them. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a few of them, actually, like, if you go Google it, it's a few of them that have actually been caught here in the country and brought up on the war crimes because of, you know what I'm saying? Like, Holocaust victims and survivors actually remembering who these motherfuckers are. And so a few of them have actually been caught and been seen. But the dude from NASA that I was talking about, his name is Werner von Braun. And he was the one that was partially responsible for helping us get to the moon. As far as like the technology and everything else, we already know the story about, you know what I'm saying, Hidden Figures. You can go watch that movie and find that out. But Werner von Braun was a big part of our space program, and that's how we ended up getting. That was one of the reasons we ended up getting to the moon. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I said with this show, it was kind of dope. Like, they actually was bringing real people into the storyline. And actually, Werner von Braun was one of the dudes that they ended up going to find in the show too, which I thought was super dope. And then the head of the Swiss Bank, I keep forgetting what this dude's name is. It slipped from my mind, but he was real intricate in that shit too, because remember that Switzerland played neutral in this whole situation. But what happened was Hitler made a deal with these dudes to basically take all of these possessions and basically hide them in Swiss banks. And it's also a bunch of different places in Germany that they still ain't even uncovered yet, and they still got a whole bunch of art and shit from all of these different places. And there was another movie that they made about that too. I forgot what it was called, but I know like George Clooney was in it. That ain't what's the dad for Roseanne?
Shit. Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Okay. So he is him, George Clooney, and somebody else. They basically all in the movie about it's a group of dudes that basically go find all of these hidden and stolen treasures and shit that the Nazis take from all of these countries after World War II. So that's basically how Germany was basically getting everything that they was doing, because they was taking all the gold, all the valuable possessions from all of these places. They was putting it in Swiss bank accounts and using it basically as collateral to basically get money from these accounts to fund everything that they was doing in the war. So that's why they was as big as they was. Yeah. That's just a little backstory, you know what I'm saying, behind that, you know what I'm saying, behind the whole show. That ain't kind of help people kind of understand what's going on in the show too.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about the corn substitute. So they figured out all that type stuff, and so Jonah on his shit again, and he was able to figure out, you know, where it was, and so they was all trying to put together a plan to infiltrate that place. So, and then they was like, who can we send in? It was so funny because they was all sitting there talking, and then everybody got quiet, and they all turned and looked at the actor dude. And they was like, they're like, we're going to need you to go in there and, you know, infiltrate the place, because they needed him to shut off the those machines so it could go to a certain temperature so it'll all overheat and overflow and all that type shit. And he almost got out undetected, but that damn assassin dude, he spotted
exactly who he was.
Yeah, he spotted him out, blew his cover. But Roxy and Jonah was able to come in and save him. Like, that was one of those missions that almost got sabotaged, but they was able to still get it. And then Al Pacino ended up getting being the limo driver for the Colonel lady.
The head of,
So he's driving the car, and she like, you know, where we going type thing. He started talking to her, and so then she tried to grab the gun up under the seat, and then when she grabbed the gun under the seat, she shoots, and then he turns and blows and shoot them. Not shoot them, but take them off of the bridge, and then they fall into the
Yep.
water. It never shows neither one of them die.
Nope.
But
They only show Al Pacino getting taken out the water.
Yeah, it showed Al Pacino getting taken out, but it don't show her. So
Yep.
we all assuming that she's dead at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. So what happened after that?
So from that point, that's when they ended up basically coming up with the plan, because now they kind of got an idea of what's going on. So they ended up coming up with a plan to destroy the whole corn syrup shit. And at this point, the FBI agent is working with them right now. So she getting all kind of intel. And then, you know what I'm saying, she bringing it back to them, and now they're working together, so it's making it a little bit easier now for all them to be able to do what they do. And this is where Jonah starts to find out that Al Pacino may be his grandfather.
Yeah, so also to do one of the flashbacks, so the dude in the lab coat grabs, the dude that's quote unquote Al Pacino, and takes him out into the woods. And so he was like, shoot her, the woman that you in love with, or shoot this innocent guy. And so she's begging him, like, don't let them destroy you. Don't let them turn you into something that you're not. Shoot me. And he refused to shoot her, and he shot the guy. And then he asked Al Pacino, he was like, so what happened after that? Well, he was like, well, how many people did you kill? He ended up saying 11. So this person that was in love with his grandmother ended up shooting and killing 11 people, innocent people, just to keep her alive.
Yep.
So I thought that was very significant in that story of, where you were going.
Yeah. And so, you know what I'm saying, what happened after that was Al Pacino, he ended up getting he was in a hospital bed inside of the headquarters. And, you know what I'm saying, he's starting to come to, and then he's starting to tell Jonah that Jonah ain't ready to be in this position. You know what I'm saying? He thought Jonah could do it. Jonah couldn't do it because he was supposed to kill the assassin. And then I think that somebody else killed the assassin. No, the
assassin never died.
Up. Yeah, they locked the assassin up because the FBI agent stopped him from killing. And so now they got the assassin, and now they're starting to find out a whole bunch of stuff about what's going on and everything like that. And then that's what Al Pacino told him, you know what I'm saying? I thought that, you know what I'm saying, we had a discussion that when the time comes, you wouldn't think about it, you would just make the decision to do what you do. He didn't do it, so Al Pacino told him that it's over. So then after all that happened, they found one more person, and that person is supposed to be the quote-unquote wolf, the person that they've been looking for this whole time. Well, Jonah takes it upon himself to go find him, go see who he is and everything like that, because his grandma has some letters and stuff, and she had already found out what was going on. And that's why we found out that's why she died. So, and after that happened, Jonah goes to talk to the dude or whatever, you know what I'm saying? He gets the information. He kidnaps the dude and brings him back to Al Pacino. Then when he brings him to Al Pacino, him and Al Pacino get to talking, and then Al Pacino instantly kills the dude. He don't ask him no questions or nothing. He just killed the dude. But before he killed him, the dude looks at him and says, "You," like with a shocked look on his face and shit like that. And in that interaction, Jonah finally realizes that Al Pacino is not who his grandfather was supposed to be. Instead, Al Pacino turns out to be the actual person in the war. Yeah. And then Al Pacino breaks down the story about how he got his face to look like the dude. He scratched himself to make it look like, he got tortured and everything else. And he basically came up and was brought over with the rest of the Nazis. And he basically used that as a story to keep himself from being found out. So he got surgery on his face, and then not only did he get surgery on his face, he actually used his grandfather's identity to say that he was the person that he was being at the time. And then he had told him, he was saying, like, to have to live this life every day as somebody that I hated. He said it was the worst decision I ever made in my life. And then Jonah kills him.
Yep.
Once Jonah kills him, the group is trying to find out why Jonah did it. And then Jonah tells him, and then now Jonah is the head of the hunter.
So then, after Jonah tells them who he is, which what I was surprised about, and I was talking to someone about this, and they was like, he built up a reputation of figuring out a lot of shit, and even stuff that they couldn't figure out. Because I was wondering why he didn't get a lot of pushback on the fact that he said that he is actually the wolf. He's not, you know what I'm saying, the guy that we thought he was. He was actually a person, and he got past the surgery. Some people gave him pushback. Some believed him, but the army guy didn't believe him. He storms out, and then he gets hit by a car. So then the car hits him, and then these people, go out, pick him up, put him in a car. So they take him down to, I think, Guantanamo Bay. Is that where they took him? I can't remember.
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, so they take him down there. So I'm like, what the hell they doing with this dude? So then we find out that the Colonel lady is alive. She didn't die off of the bridge, off of crashing into the water. So then they're showing these kids, man. And then you start thinking about, like, shit, all these kids looked alike. And it would seem like that they clone these damn kids. So they all sitting at this damn table, and which I thought was really weird. I'm like, why they got the army dude sitting at this table like he's about to eat brunch and shit with all these kids that look exactly the same? And then she stands up, and then who the fuck do we see? Fucking Hitler. I was like, get the fuck out of here, yo. I was like,
guess who this bitch was the whole time, bro?
She was his wife.
Fucking wrong, bro.
I was like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Dude, I did not see that shit coming for nothing. Because the whole shit with Hitler, he a lot of the times when there's somebody that has, whether it's good or bad, but they have this reputation that's, I'm trying to find a word, but like, you will find some people that will tell you Michael Jackson ain't dead. Some people tell you Elvis ain't dead. Some people tell you Tupac ain't dead. Like Hitler has that thing because he had a mysterious death where supposedly he killed himself, and there was this whole thing about him.
It's okay. So it's the three main conspiracy theories around that. The first one is that they used to have this thing where if one of the Nazi leaders got caught, they would take cyanide pills. So they was saying that the troops stormed the castle or the place that Hitler was at. He took a cyanide pill and killed himself. Then the second one is that he was in one of the Nazi castles or whatever, and then they got bombed, and that's how he died. And I guess whatever happened, they couldn't confirm that it was his body. And then the third one, which is the one that I look into the most, is that Hitler never died. It was his body double, because he had a body double.
Yeah.
Hitler didn't die. They killed his body double. And not only did he have a body double, Eva Braun had a body double as well. So they killed the body doubles of them, and them two got away somehow.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Man, listen. So when that shit happened, the first thing that thought to my mind was season 2 is about to be fucking nuts now. Because we going from, what, the 60s or 70s? Now you got to go into, like, what, the 80s and 90s?
You think they're going to go that far?
They got to.
Because I'm thinking that is because it seemed like that when in the 70s it was really all based in 1 year. It don't seem like they really got that far along. So I
That's
just feel
true.
like that it's going to take them into the 80s, and I'm trying to figure out what is they plan with the army do, because obviously they're not going to let him go, because I mean, why would they let him go? Because he could. The biggest secret was the fact that Hitler is alive.
Yep.
So it's like they're not gonna let him go. I think that they just wanted to show him, to be like, look, all this time, you know what I'm saying, you was just coming after me and you didn't really know why you was coming after me. But I'm actually his wife and he's alive and he's not dead. And like Hitler, I don't want to say a fascinating person, but like,
no, he is.
Like
not what he did with the whole Holocaust shit. But if you ever read up on dude is, to me, he's like how Trump is. Like Trump, the way Trump came up to presidency, like just out of the blue. That's how Hitler came into being a chancellor of fucking Germany. Just like randomly out of the blue. Like dude really wasn't a politician like that. I mean, like he wanted to be a fucking painter when he was a kid.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And then like he just basically started getting into politics out of nowhere, and the next thing you know, this motherfucker by World War I, he ended up becoming, I think at the end of World War I, he ended up becoming like Chancellor of Germany. And then by fucking World War II, this motherfucker is like taking over most of fucking Europe.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Valkyrie, that Tom Cruise joint?
No.
Now I'm not a huge Tom Cruise guy, but it was what Valkyrie was about. Is actually the name of the plan of it was an assassination attempt on Hitler, and the shit would have worked, but the reason it didn't work was because they found a way to infiltrate them, and they put this bomb, like it had a suitcase that had a bomb in it, and they had like a long ass table, right, where they was having this meeting, and this table was so big, like it had like the legs of the table like went like all the way across the table, and what they did was they put the bomb on the inside of the leg of the table. If they would have put it on the outside, the wood blocked the blast radius, and that's why Hitler didn't die. And they were saying that plan, out of all the assassination attempts, that was the best one. But it was just that they put the suitcase on the wrong side of the table, and so the blast radius didn't really kill. Like he got hurt in the process, but he didn't die, and then they was able to retract it and find out all the people that betrayed them. It wasn't that they infiltrated them. It's just like Germany is just like any other country. Everyone is not going to agree with everything. Like they were just German people who didn't believe in what Hitler was doing, and they just tried to take him out and all that type stuff. So it's a pretty good movie, man. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise guy. Not that he did a bad job. I just, I could just picture some other people in that role that would have done better. But the concept of the movie is really good though.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, man, in order to really watch this TV series and really kind of get the gist of a lot of the shit that's going on, you really got to get into the history of World War II and World War I around the time of the rise of Nazi Germany. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it was always one of the things that I was fascinated. I don't want to say fascinated with, but it was always one of the things I was curious about, because you had a guy who had most of the country believe in something. Like, he used to tell people that the Aryan race was the top race in the world. But he was saying like blonde hair and blue eyes, and dude had dark hair and brown eyes. Yeah. He didn't have none of the features, he didn't have none of the features of what he was telling them, and like people was really into this shit, believing it. And to me, like, what I see now is the same shit with Trump. Like, Trump is really telling these motherfuckers to do certain shit, and he's not even one of the motherfuckers to do it. Like, he's leading a mass group of fucking people that are nothing like him. He's a rich billionaire weirdo, and he got a group of poor motherfuckers to rally behind him and believe every fucking word that he said. So, like, to me, that's the similarity that I bring to it. Like, he really got a mass group of people to do some shit that, you know what I'm saying, like he was saying to do, but it's like he was like the total fucking opposite.
Yeah, dude, it's like Uncle Washington always say, it's the great lie. You look at the great lie, it's the same shit that they was doing during the Civil War. It's like you're fighting to keep the rich people richer. So you're poor, and even after all of this is done, you're still going to be poor, but you're going to be better than these black people. And something else that we left out, I kind of jumped to it, but my man, the assassin dude, got arrested. And so they was able to get him a lawyer that could have got him out, but he chose to get a Jewish lawyer.
Yeah, he told him that
he wanted
to be in there,
stay and build an army.
Yeah, because remember he was trying to prove to them that he can lead them, and they was telling him that he had to kill a Jewish person.
Yeah. And he killed the Jewish person, and then he started screaming white power and stuff. And then when you start looking,
that's why I said they got to get into the 80s and 90s now. This is when the rise of the skinheads and all them
exactly
white nationalist groups
in the prison system,
neo-Nazis and all that shit.
Yeah. And he started using people in the prison system to basically, because he said I had to build an army, and this is the perfect place to build an army. So he started feeding them all of this hatred shit, and started bringing in this neo-Nazi shit. And then that's another thing. I ain't trying to really go down this road, but like you look at the Confederate flag, which was the losing side. Then you look at the neo-Nazi flag, which was the loser side, and these motherfuckers be rocking that shit. I can never understand that to the day I die. I would never figure out how y'all, the two worst symbols on this earth is the Confederate flag and the Nazi flag, and y'all want to rock that shit like this is the greatest shit in the world. So you pick the two biggest losers.
If you look at everything that America is doing currently right now, and once again, this is why I tell people, make sure you go back and learn your history. Because if you look at what Joseph Goebbels did with Nazi Germany, and then if you look at what the media is doing right now with current America, you will see a lot of similarities. And I mean a lot of similarities.
That's wild.
Like, it's a bunch of notes that these motherfuckers was taking from dude, and they executing that shit to damn near perfection.
Yes, sir. And before we get to the fire flames, since you so fast, see, I'm more of in the Vietnam. Like I've seen a lot of shit around the Vietnam War. Not so much World War I and II, but what I have seen from World War II. Have you ever seen the movie? And this is based on a true story. Enemy at the Gate. You ever seen that?
I don't think
it got Jude Law in it, and Rachel Wise. I think that's what her last name is.
The one Rachel Weisz. Yeah,
Weisz. Yeah. And what it's about this. He was from the Soviet Union, and he was like the greatest assassin. His name was Vilicius, I think. And he was like this greatest sniper that like they hold up to this higher standard. And it's basically built upon it's about the Germany's top sniper against the Soviet Union's top sniper. And so it gets into those two guys. It gets into Stalin was like the top dude at the time, and
he was the
the USSR is like
he was
president type person.
he was like the chancellor. Yeah, he was like chancellor.
And it goes into like the battle at Stalingrad, and like it's basically like this whole little sniper war, man. And what's great about it is the fact of, you know, the type of shit that, like, the game planning and the art, like the oh man, it's like to watch a sniper, dude. That shit is crazy. You got to be mad patient. You got to be precise.
It's all technical.
Yeah, like dude. But yes, it would be for you. I feel like I love that movie. I actually got it on DVD somewhere. Like, look that shit up. It's called Enemy at the Gate. And like, dude, it's a really, really good movie on World War II. So who going first? Who going first?
You can go first this time, man.
Alright, yeah, you went first last time. The biggest thing that I really like about it is the history part. I love watching films. Number one, I love true stories, and I love not true stories, but more of real life type stuff. And I like things that are going back into history. And I would have to give Hunters. I would give it as far. I'm trying to figure out how to get it, because we never done a show before. We always done movies,
right?
And I have developed to be more of a show type of person the older I've gotten.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying not to do is I'm trying not to compare it to other shows. I'm trying to put it into its own box, and it's kind of hard for me to do. But I would give. My personal opinion, I would give it 3.5 Fire Flames.
Wow, okay.
The reason why is it's in the middle is because I can't help but to gauge it against other shows. And like, even though this show ain't got nothing to do with it, like, one of my favorite shows, and I'm actually rewatching it again for like the third time. This is my third time rewatching this. Is Luther is like probably my top TV show ever.
Okay.
You ever seen it? Idris Elba. Is his show?
I've seen 3 episodes of it.
Like, dude, that it's just, that show just blows my mind. But I'm gonna stay in the middle, man. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. But I'm really, really looking forward to season 2. I don't know how fast they can get to it because of all this coronavirus stuff is slowing a lot of stuff up. But even though I'm only giving it a 3.5, I am really looking forward to season 2, because I think season 2 could really take it over the top.
Right.
So that's what I got.
For me, man, listen. I get caught up in, you know what I'm saying, and being a prisoner of the moment with a lot of it. It's one of those things for me that, like I said, you know, I'm into the history. I'm super into the history, and you know what I'm saying, like, anytime I see something like this where they can get as creative as they did with it, and they take it and add in realistic facts, they add in historical context, they add in actual people, you know what I'm saying, and then they create an actual story around it that can keep you locked in. I'm in for it. Me personally, the pros are that they did a great job with everybody's backstory. It wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, and there was a lot of information within the space that they gave you for each person. I think they did a great job within telling multiple stories at the same time between the FBI agent, between Jonah, and between Al Pacino's character. I think they did a great job intertwining those and kind of basically keeping you up to date, you know what I'm saying, within certain time limits. you kind of never forgot about any characters, even with Roxy not being in this, still in certain episodes. You still didn't forget about her because they still mentioned her, they still brought her up. One of I think the only con for me was between the first and third episode. It kind of slowed down a little too much for me, but it picked right back up in that third episode, like in the middle of that third episode, so it got right back on track. But to me, that's the only thing that I found out, that I found bad about it. But as far as everything else goes, I think it was shot pretty good. I think the action scenes were real good. I think that they, them adding in the espionage and the double agents and, going, at a time where we still got to remember this is 15, 20 years after World War II.
Yeah.
So this ain't even during World War II. This is after the fact. You know what I'm saying? And then, the flashback scenes where they going back to the Holocaust and showing you certain scenes from, those times. And actually, to me, I felt like this was more so of a tribute to the survivors, the history of Jewish people from Nazi Germany to our country. I think it was just like a tribute to the people of that religion and to those people in general. I thought that it was very, very, it was very intricate about, the way they portrayed people. They didn't do the whole stereotypical thing where, they made a few jokes about it, but it wasn't necessarily that, They actually portrayed them in the dope light. They made them the hero, So I thought that was super cool too, which we don't see a lot of that in any of the films and shit that we watch today. So I thought that was super dope. So for me personally, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 Fire Flame, and I think that it was one of the best shows I probably ever watched.
That's what's up, man. I mean, we're around the same thing. It was just like for me, like that there was the reason I gave it more of a 3.5 because there were times where I'm picking up my phone, like I kind of like I would tune out for like a minute or so because it was just like, oh man, I love how stuff is getting explained, but it's like sometimes it's like, oh, well, you could explain it a little quicker, a little faster. And it was like some of the episodes was like an hour and a half. Some of them was like, it really was between an hour and a half. And it was like sometimes I feel like they could have condensed some of the stuff a little quicker. But, it was, I mean, as far as TV shows, I mean, as of right now, I mean, I could sneak it into my top 10, but it's down at the bottom.
Let me see. I would probably put it up with I'm trying to think, man, because as far as especially those type of TV shows, like if we talk about all-time TV shows, it's definitely going to my top 10. Only because the execution of it to me was
the execution and the twist. I would say as far as a show that would have a twist in it, they have the best twist.
Definitely did.
Because it was two of them. I did not see the shits coming at all. I did not see Hitler coming.
Back though.
Yeah, I mean, that shit hit you like a fucking baseball bat. Like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit. Yeah, like the fact that he found out that this is the war, and then right after that, dude get kidnapped. Shit happen, and they go back to the dude, and then you see dude, and you like, oh shit, is that what I think it is? And then there's fucking Hitler popping up with fucking, and then you find out that the whole time the colonel lady is fucking Ava Braun. You like, oh shit. That right there blew my mind off.
Yeah. You totally right. You're totally right. But I was sneaking in there.
Like, okay, so I know for a fact it's about to be in season 2, and now we definitely are about to get a great fucking season because I got a fucking good feeling that they gonna find Hitler and kill him.
Yeah. But then they're gonna have to try to figure out what happened to the army dude. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's how they gonna find Hitler and kill him.
That's gonna be season 2. Like season 2 will be able to the bump. If I'm pretty sure if Jordan Peele is coming back, I'm pretty sure it can sneak. Look, when it comes to shows, it's a fucking ladder, dude. It's like shit can go up, shit can go down. Like the way that they could do season 2 and the ideas that it seemed like both of us have, it could definitely get higher.
Yeah.
It could definitely get higher.
I feel like it can't go anywhere but up. I mean, because like I said, to me, I feel like, especially if they start bringing it to, even if they do like the late 70s, early 80s,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Where they start where they start doing like Reagan and all this other shit, you gonna start seeing some dope shit pop off. And they can add a whole bunch of shit and basically use some shit that happened in the 80s and the late 70s to kind of intermingle with, you know what I'm saying, the plan that they got for this next season.
Dude, they might bring the crack academic in there. Let's remember, Jordan Peele loves he loves showing, like, you know what I'm saying, shit that happened in the black community. So
don't forget the Vietnam War.
Yeah. Well, it passed that. It passed that.
We passed Vietnam.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Desert Storm and all that shit. Then we got to talk about, like you said, the crack epidemic. We got to talk about because remember one of the major points of this whole the whole season was them lifting the sanctions to get their product that corn syrup shit to America.
Mm-hmm.
So they can bring in the Cuban Missile Crisis. They could bring in fucking Watergate. They could bring. I mean, it's a lot of shit they can bring in. You know what I'm saying? And make this shit like continue. I mean, I think it's dope because one of the things that they're doing is actually adding in historical context to this show that makes it a story around some shit that happened in history that may actually make people go look and be like, what the fuck is this? Or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the, you know what I'm saying? Who is Werner von Braun? And they go back and find out, oh shit, this motherfucker is a real person. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I think they did a great fucking job.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I think it only go up. If it's written right, which I'm sure it will be, I think that it only has the potential to get better. Like, dude, Amazon Prime is taking over, dude. It's like ever since I've gotten on Amazon Prime.
You think so?
Like, dude, I haven't been on it. Like, this is the first thing that I even watched on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But now I'm watching Hannah, and the next show I'm gonna start watching after, because I'm on season 2 of Hannah now. I'm gonna start watching Homecoming, cause that shit look like it's pretty good. So yeah, man, I just got on to this Amazon Prime thing, man. So yeah. So
for me, man, the only reason I even got Amazon Prime was for the delivery shit. And then when I found out that you could actually like watch movies and shit, I was on it. And then I think I was watching the movie. Have you ever seen Knives Out?
Yes. I actually just watched Knives Out like 3-4 weeks ago.
That was a good movie. That was a real good movie. But I was watching that, and that's where I seen the trailer for Hunters from. So that's when after I got done watching Knives Out, that's when I started Hunters. And once I had started the Hunters, I was instantly hooked. But I haven't really seen anything else on there, because I know like they had the Jack Reacher show with dude from The Office, and I'm like, I can't watch him and really see no action going on for real. Like I see him every time I see him, I'm thinking he gonna do a prank with Pam or shit. And then I seen the Hammer shit that you were talking about, because I remember the movie Hammer, and I was like, I'm gonna definitely check that out. And then they got another fucking show on there. I think it's with it might not even be Amazon, but I think it got Janelle Monáe in there.
That's Homecoming.
That's Homecoming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I haven't really seen anything else from Amazon that would make me like want to jump on it. I'm still jumping with Netflix, man. Netflix is they killing the game right now. They got shit on lock.
They do. The only thing with Netflix is the fact that there is a lot of garbage on there as well. So it's like once you pick through the garbage, you can find some gems in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, Netflix is definitely killing the game. And then like the whole announcement of Ozark saying that like this is gonna be like the last like installment of it. So they're just gonna finish it out.
Ozark.
Man, Ozark, dude, I mentioned this on a podcast. I said as far as shows, Netflix shows, hands down, to me, best show they've had so far.
Really?
To me, yes. Because really to me
couldn't get into it, man.
It was to me. It was that, and the only competition that they had for me was Orange Is the New Black. Let me see, Netflix. I'm watching. I mean, I wouldn't put this in the category, but I'm just thinking of Netflix shows. I'm watching Dead to Me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the second season of Dead to Me. That shit is mad wild. And
have you ever watched Lucifer?
No, but Lucifer ain't a Netflix show though. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it is now.
Oh, but it started out
Netflix,
as a Fox show.
Netflix on Fox, yeah. Netflix bought the rights to it.
Oh,
I started watching it when it was on Fox.
Oh, okay.
And to me, that was one of the best shows on TV. See. And now that it's on Netflix, I just found out last night that it was on Netflix because my wife, she the one who got me onto the show. So when I started watching it with her, I had to actually go back and watch it from the beginning and catch up to finish watching it with her. And to me, that's one of the best shows they ever put on TV. And then to come find out that Netflix got it now and they continuing the seasons, I gotta, catch up. But to me, I think that's probably the best things Netflix got. Other than that, for me, I really don't watch too many of the Netflix originals or nothing like that. I know that Stranger Things, of course, that's one of the
shows. Stranger Things. Yeah, that's what I was trying to. I was trying to get that. Like Stranger Things in my top 3.
Altered Carbon, that was super dope.
Don't forget about Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
Oh yeah, of course. All the Marvel joints. And then what's the one that oh my god, I can't believe I can't think of this shit right now. Black Mirror. Black Mirror was the best Netflix show ever.
Black Mirror is in my top 5. Yep. It got
Black Mirror was the best Netflix show
ever.
Yeah,
I didn't like that Bandersnatch joint though. The movie.
I loved it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was cool, but it was. I guess what I was expecting, I didn't get what I was expecting, so it kind of threw me off. And then, like the last season, it got kind of crazy, but at the same time, it got you.
Was wild.
It got you thinking. As far as when you think about the very first episode with Anthony Mackie in it, with them in that damn video game, I was like, yo, like I'm trying to.
But I mean, it was to me. I think that when you watch shows like that, especially like Black Mirror, you got to realize the view that they taking it. Taking it to. To me, the last season was really just the reflection of the time that we're in now. With virtual reality and video games and stuff starting to come into the front, and then how we look at all these musicians, the celebrities as these fucking, like mega stars where we kind of idolize them with the Miley Cyrus joint. I thought that was, very smart. With Bandersnatch though, I thought Bandersnatch was so dope because it was super on brand with what Black Mirror was. When you watch Bandersnatch and you pay attention to certain shit that they saying within the movie, and then you pay attention to the whole plot of the movie, is that the whole thing was you never made the choices in that movie. You just thought you were making the choices in that movie. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like with certain things, like when you would pick certain things, it would make you go back, rewatch it, and then pick the other option. So like it gave you the illusion of free will, but that wasn't what you was getting.
Yeah.
Which is basically the whole point of the movie was they had the illusion of free will, but that's not really what was happening. So I thought that was like, to me, I thought it was a brilliant concept.
It was cool. It was cool. I just the way that it was being promoted, it just made me feel like it was going to be like something bigger, and it just didn't reach my expectations. Not that it was bad,
right.
It just didn't reach my expectations. But I mean, Netflix still got it. I mean, because like you, like after I finished these 3. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where I feel like I'm going to be doing the same thing I was doing on Netflix, like trying to find that next show. Because you still got regular TV and shit. Like, you still got Showtime and HBO and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? And they still coming with it as well. They still giving you some good shows. The only thing that sucks is how this whole little, and we're into here, but they got this whole little HBO, you got HBO Go, you got HBO Max, and it's like what the fuck, dude?
They trying to get into the game, bro. They trying to get into the game. You can't knock them for it, man.
You can't, but that's why I love HBO, but like Showtime has became my go-to. Like, Showtime got like a lot of the show. Like, I know out of all the shows I watch, because I got Hulu and they got my stuff. And I think I got maybe 10 shows on there, and like 6 of them are Showtime.
Okay.
So it's like Showtime is killing it. Showtime's killing it. They still going.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, man, give me 3 shows or movies or a movie that you're watching that you think the people should check out.
I think the people should check out. Now we're talking newer stuff.
Anything that you've been watching recently.
Well, I'm watching like I mentioned. I'm watching Hannah. I think that Hannah is it's really good. I'm in the middle of the 2nd season, and that show really has a lot to offer, man. And it's really it's that science fiction type shit. So I think that's one. As far as like I said, I'm watching Dead to Me on Netflix. I'm on the 2nd season of that. It's one of those comedic. It's a comedic drama. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it has those moments where it's like that shit'll have you busting out laughing, but then it'll have you crying here in a minute. And it's just one of those type shows where you might think it's a chick flick, but it's really not a chick flick, because like the main character is Christina Applegate. And and like, you know, she can have her funny moments. And like I said, I'm planning on watching The Old Guard. I haven't watched it yet. But that's coming up next for me. I have to also watch that. That's 3 right there, man. Like, I gave you 1 show, 2 shows, 1 movie that I got coming up.
Okay. For me, a good show is for me especially, because I love the fucking laugh. If you got FX on demand, or if you got Hulu with FX, man, watch What We Do in the Shadows. That shit is fucking hilarious. That shit is gonna have you fucking crying. Especially if you like raunchy comedy and raunchy humor. That's a great show. I just recently watched Dave.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah, that was a great show, man. Shout out to Kevin Hart, because he got, he played a part in helping to write that and putting his team on to write that. So they did a great job with that. I thought Dave was super, super good. I can't wait for the next season. Hopefully they can get him next season. And for me, a movie that I watched, and if you see it, you cannot be mad, because I'm about to give you a precursor before you even watch it. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible movie. It's a bad movie.
Okay.
But it's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good.
Okay.
it's one of those movies like the the effects are stupid. The plot is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like the acting is so bad, but it's so good at the same time because you ain't gonna do nothing but laugh. The movie is called VelociPastor. If you can find this movie called VelociPastor, I believe you can find it on Amazon Prime. Please watch this movie. If you just want to get your mind off of anything and just watch some shit that will make you laugh, VelociPastor is the one to watch. When I say I laughed throughout this whole fucking movie, it's so fucking horrible, bro. Like, when I say it's horrible, I mean like, dude would be bleeding, but the blood is like literally ketchup.
Get the fuck out of
Like,
here.
listen, I'm telling you, it's a good fucking movie. Like, it's one of them movies to where, you know what I'm saying, like, you get to watching it, and it's like, whatever you do, go in with super low expectations. Don't expect this to be like one of them great movies. It's like Sharknado. Like, you know how Sharknado was a good movie, but it was horrible. Like, the graphics on it was trash, all that shit. It's like that. But it's like a tier lower than that.
You know what? Like the way you explaining it, it kind of sounds like without all the cameos, it was sounding like this is the end. You ever seen that joint? This is the end.
It's way worse than this is the end. Yeah, it's way worse than this is the end. When I say this shit, okay, so like, you know how they say like you got D-list actors?
Yeah.
These motherfuckers is Z-list actors. Like, this is a Z movie. This is the lowest of the low. It's like, like somebody literally took a Nikon camera and made a movie. I mean, like, this shit look like it'll be on YouTube. That's how horrible this movie is. But it's good though. Like, it's just funny. It's one of them movies where you'll be like, man, what the fuck is that? Like, it's just a good ass movie altogether. It's gonna make you laugh, man. I guarantee it, man. So if y'all can check that out, man, go watch VelociPastor. And if you in the comments, man, if you did watch VelociPastor, put in the comments how you think this shit was so funny, man. Because I thought that shit was fucking hilarious, bro. But you know what I'm saying? With that being said, man, we about to go ahead and get on out of here. Once again, man, I'm Scoots Bronson. You can find me on Twitter at Scoots Bronson, or you can find me on Instagram at Scoots Bronson _TV.
Oh, that's all of them? I thought you were going on some more stuff.
That's all I got.
Like I said, I'm S. Foster. You can find on Instagram the S. Foster 8. That's also the same handle on Twitter. I finally created a Stolen Time Pod Instagram page, so go check that out. I will be posting a lot of stuff on there. The Stolen Time page, the Stolen Time podcast page on Facebook. Follow me there as well. Like we mentioned earlier, just dropped the episode that you was a guest on. We was on episode 169. So go check that out. That's it though. That's all I got.
That's what's up, man. Thank y'all for watching, man. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all also hit that bell that's next to it so y'all can get notifications every time we drop an episode. And we up out of here, man.
Peace.